Former Congresswoman Katie Porter, who's been criticized over the past for outbursts to staff members, is now running for governor of California. And she defended herself at a recent debate. Take a look.
I can't believe that on a stage with 30 minutes of interrupting and bickering and name-calling and shouting and disrespect for everyone up here who's stepping into public service, that anyone wants to talk about my temperament.
You were actually interrupting them, too. I don't know why you want to act like you weren't.
Oh, cowboy
Steve and
cupcakes. Californians can decide for themselves about my temperament based on what they've seen here tonight. And if these boys bullying and bickering hasn't been enough to raise questions about their temperament, I would really challenge that.
I like the fact that she said, wait a minute, me?
Yeah.
Let's talk about y'all. Because it's like 45 of y'all and one of me. Yeah. And maybe she does yell at people. I yell at people. You yell at people. You yell at people. And sometimes
I
it's
only
not
yell at
nice.
my husband.
That's right. But he's a person, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There's no question that women are held to a different standard in the public sphere, likability, all these issues we talk about in politics. But I don't think she's the best spokesperson for this. I think how somebody treats staff under them says so much about their character. And we should note, we saw the video where she berated a staffer in a way I've never in any job in politics been talked to. That staffer then did accept the apology and continue to work with her. But that, to me, is a sign of very questionable character. She's had abuse allegations against her from her husband. She's had counter abuse allegations, her against him. I think there's a volatility there that needs to be taken seriously. If it was a man to a woman, I think that we would take it seriously.
Yeah, but you know what? Hillary Clinton was called unlikable, nasty, and abrasive. Michelle Obama was subject to endless sexist and racist attacks. Kamala Harris, remember, I don't like her laugh.
But they've never been on camera berating people. They all treat their staff with respect.
Look, Katie, she's of a high spirit. Maybe she had PMS. I don't know what her problem was. But the fact remains that she threw hot mashed potatoes at her husband's head, apparently. I read
Allegedly.
that. So she has anger issues.
Well, maybe she has bad taste in men.
Or potatoes. But I think that we can basically, any level-headed person can see that there is a double standard. Donald Trump has a freaking fit every day at temper tantrum.
Two things can be true
and
at once.
his people worship him. Oh, he's strong-willed. I ran into a woman in a supermarket. I said, why are you a Trump supporter? Because he's the best thing that ever happened to this country. I said, I was on the set of The View when he said about his daughter, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd date her. What do you think about that? And she said, oh, he says a lot of crazy things all the time. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but I think the temperament matters.
And yet, if that was a woman, she'd be out on her behind.
But Joy, even grouping her in with Kamala Harris, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton is not the same as watching with your own two eyes what happened. And that temperament does bother me because one of the biggest complaints, and we talk about it at the show all the time, is the abuse of power we're witnessing, where there's no accountability. If you're already berating people in videos, and she also got mad at an interviewer, the very job of an interviewer was about something she had said about Trump voters, and she snapped, quit the interview, walked out. You can't unsee that with your eyes, and you are now going to be in a very tense position. I feel the same way about men. I saw the Bill O'Reilly clips of Save It for Live, the Laura Ingraham, Don't Come in My Ear.
We'll get alive.
You've seen them all flip out. To me, it's not male or female. It's not black or white. It's not old or young.
Running.
It is a character
I want to know why she's still in the race, though. She's like number 6 in the race. When a Republican's leading in California, you would think she would have gotten out and endorsed another Democrat.
Because a lot of people like her.
I like her.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
barely
like
made it
her.
over 9%.
We know that there's a double standard, and I've got to tell you, the bar is so very low when you look at J.D. Vance, the way he behaves, you look at Pete Hegseth, you look at Donald Trump, it trickles down from the top. We have seen the worst behavior in the Republican Party. I don't think, and I watched a lot of that debate, and there was terrible bickering, terrible cross-talking. Those men were disrespectful, and I think she rose above the fray, and I give her credit for it, and I thought that it was smart politically to point out what was happening.
And also, I have to say, you get caught in a moment, and, everybody's got a camera. So I'm sorry. I have yelled at people who worked for me. I have yelled at people.
But I've never seen you treat someone like that, to be honest.
Well, because You can't always. Yeah, I mean.
Do what Whoopi doing. I'm gonna.
No. The reason you don't see it is because I'm very careful when I yell at people now. because what you don't know is oftentimes people are, messing with you. I get it all. I used to get it all the time, and I used to get really angry at people because they come up and they go, "So what are you going to do when your girl loses because Trump is up?" And I get right back in people's faces, and I realize that's what you want. Yeah. You want me to do that, so you learn to do it. I'm not mad at anybody who steps in poo. I'm not. Now, I don't know what she did to her husband. I don't know anything about the potatoes. I don't know about any of that.
But wait a second. She threw hot mashed potatoes, but the gravy she left out. I mean, I'm just saying.
She does deny the mashed potato incident.
He does?
She does.
She denies it.
Well,
She denies it.
I don't know. All I know is, as a human being, I am subject to the same things that she's subject to. I'm subject to screwing up and messing up and being not the person people want me to be. But if I'm the right person to run that state, and I know what I'm doing, I want you to say, "Hey, listen, I want you to be better, but I want you to run the state." I have a lot of faith in her. I don't know if I have so much faith in some of the other folks. Not only her, but there's a couple. Anyway, we live in New York, so what do we care?